Hello, everybody. Hemoglobin here. It's a little late for a full Minecraft stream for me, so I am going to change the weather and time. So, this is a project that I have been working on during my streams. But let me see if I can figure out where everything else is so I can get to my vlog spot. Let's try this spot today. Obligatory selfie. Okay, so this is mental health part two for me. Um, so I kind of discuss in my first vlog mental health because it just kind of came up organically. So we're going to try to talk more about my mental health and how it affects me and how it might affect you. And what I mean by that is it is talking about the kind of discovery, but then the lengthy um, trying to get to perfect mental health, which I don't even know if there is a such thing as perfect mental health. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like? If you have ideas, leave them in the comments below. And let's just kind of jump right into it. Mental health for me has been a moving target. Uh, Like when I was a kid, I had a happy life. I wasn't thinking about food or shelter or anything or stability. I had food, shelter, stability. I was a happy kid. Um, I loved building. I loved watching koi fish, and that was great. Um, I guess fast forward to my brother leaving, and I was fine during it because I guess at an early age I was great at compartmentalizing. So I just focused on my friends, creating friends at my new school, and all the time that I got to spend with my mom, who wasn't working at this point. Um, and there were horses and gardening and baking bread and pizza from scratch. It was great. Um, but I wasn't acknowledging my anger towards my half brother. So, in your mind, I guess, do you find that to be strong compartmentalization, strong mental health, or do you think it is poor mental health in that I am not dealing with that problem? And then, so this was all around fourth grade. My mom was kind of getting depressed because she didn't have any real friends out there. My brother had left, she wasn't working, and we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So there was that. And so we moved back to my what I consider my hometown. And she starts applying this pressure. Like she needs support, and I feel like she's not getting it from dad or enough from dad because she is saying, am I a terrible mother? What's going on? Like, why did he leave? And I just wanted to be like, I'm here. I love you. Please pay attention to me and stop worrying about him. And like, I think a part of my compartmentalization about the whole thing became, um, what's the word? Like, I'm trying to think of a good word to describe this. The coping mechanism. Compartmentalization became kind of a coping mechanism, um, to deal with all of the anger that I was going through. And so my anger actually started peering out when I was in the fourth grade. And I had really bad anger issues. So much so that when I had a bad day in the fourth grade, not in college, not at work, fourth grade, I would take it out on trees. So there were like some skinny pine trees that were really tall, and I would just shake them till they fell apart. And that's how I vented. Didn't have any sports that I was like into that took a lot of energy. Um, I think I might have started playing the piano, but it was just whatever. Like I went from a school where I was very popular, but mom was depressed, to a school that I hated because it was full of rich snobs. And if you weren't like this perfect Protestant person, you were ridiculed. And I like being me. And I feel like I should be able to be unapologetically me in the fourth grade. Because we're fourth graders, we're children. Leave us alone. Let us do what we want to do. Don't impose your don't impose your way onto your children, because then your children are going to impose that onto other people. It's just this cycle of hate. And as an adult, I think a part of this imposing your view onto your children is hate towards yourself. If you are fine with yourself and confident with yourself, you're not going to be imposing onto your children, oh, that's weird, don't do that. Like, there are some normalities that I think should be imposed, and of course, it's air quotes normal, blah, blah, blah. I feel like you shouldn't eat burgers in front of people. If you want to do it when you're in your bedroom by yourself, fine. I think there should be like obvious signs of you staying like clean, like obviously washing your hands after using the bathroom, um, kind of stuff like that. Just being sanitary for the sake of others around you. Let me see. No, can't do morning. And so these people were trying to impose their waspy views onto me. And I just wanted to fly. Literally, I had so many dreams about flying. I was like, maybe I can fly. Thankfully, there's none of me throwing myself off the side of a swing set to see if I can fly. Wasn't a thing. Did it off the diving board. Tried that. Tried the cartoon thing, but don't look down. Maybe I can like float or levitate. That didn't work. But hey, there was water beneath me, so that's the harm. And I literally would spend time with this girl who people considered an outcast. I think she was having mental health issues as well because like I went to like student of the month and the guidance counselor was there, and again this is all in elementary school. Guidance counselor is there, and then the girl that I'm friends with who isn't very popular is in this library with us, and we are discussing like student of the month, etc. Yay! And the guidance counselor was like, "Oh, she's here again. Like this girl is starting for attention or something." Um, So I don't know what was going on with her. And I feel poorly that I deserted her in middle school because of this. Because other people were imposing their view of what normal is. And if you don't have a friend that's normal, if you have a friend that is abnormal, then you're different. It's a terrible thing. And I regret that. And I've talked about regrets in other videos. And I talk about regret in other videos. Um, and again, this kind of falls in lines with the same regrets of just not being a friend to someone I should have been a friend to. And I have another topic I want to cover in kind of the same vein of like friends, air quotes, and true friends, and best friends, and the level of friends. Like bestie that you talk everything about, and then good friend that you talk to kind of on a regular basis, and then the good friend that's now an acquaintance. But again, this is all friends. So mental health for me is a integral part of how I interact with the environment. And poor mental health started for me, I would say, in the fourth grade with my brother leaving and my mom not being able to cope and then using me. So that's one thing. Another thing is people imposing what they consider to be normal and me not wanting to do those things and then contemplating, am I abnormal? What can I do to be popular? Things that should not have entered the mind of a fourth grader. And in elementary school, I had fun with the girl who I'm talking about in the way that we would plant wildflowers in the hill behind our school during PE because we weren't interested in other people's things. And me being like all Catholic and whatnot, I was making holy water and sprinkling it on the wildflowers so that they would bloom better and bigger. Um, Another thing that I couldn't deal with was death. And like, I don't know if it was Grandpa Sadowski, like, death, me being at such a young age and not understanding death and trying to understand it. Uh, Being Catholic, there was like, uh, Mother Mary ascended into heaven, full body and whatnot. And I was scared of not ascending full body and whatnot because I was just like, I don't want my spirit to be ripped from my body. I want to just be like calmly ascended because I was trying to wrap my mind around eternity. And if space goes on for eternity, like how long would your body be traveling until it reaches the end of space time? And that's kind of just the beginning of eternity. And if you want a breakdown of eternity, there's this really good video. If I can find it and remember to link it, I will. But it goes over how long it takes for space to decay until time becomes irrelevant. And that gives you an idea of what eternity might be. So eternity started scaring me to the point where I couldn't sleep when I was in the fourth grade. It'd take me like hours to go because I couldn't just stop thinking about it, stop obsessing about it. And I remember this vividly because when my brother left, I got his room. I remember being in that double bed instead of the single sleigh bed, and just like under my blankets, all like as if something is scaring me, which something was eternity and hell and heaven, and that's why I'm just kind of like I wish I wasn't raised Catholic. And I don't think I would have said this so many years ago because I was like a real hardcore Catholic growing up. And like I was the person who was the altar server. I would serve by myself if I had to. I would do the daily mass as an altar server when I wasn't in school. I went to almost all of the Catholic events as an altar server. When you're altar server, you can come when you want to come because your spot is guaranteed. So I know I'm bird walking here. Apologies. So I wish I wasn't raised Catholic. One reason is that I feel like I wouldn't have such a mental health problem. Like as a child or as a high schooler or as a person in college. I was stressed out for reasons that were beyond my control. If I was raised Wiccan or a person who believed in the beauty of nature and that all things have life and what happens in nature is fine. And by that I mean there are animals that enter in monogamous relationships that happen to enter into homosexual relationships on a percentage basis. This includes eagles, the almighty American bald eagle. It happens. Deny all you want, it happens. And that's why I feel like I wouldn't have had this giant internal struggle about me being, uh, I guess, homosexual. And I do want to get into gender and gender identity later because I don't identify myself as being male, but I do use male bathrooms because of the urinals. That's how I identify as male. And then what's expected of me. But that's, again, another topic. So, if I didn't have the stress of being Catholic, I feel like I would have had an easier time later in life. I would have probably had a harder time later in life. Not harder time later in life, harder time early in life. Because if you weren't Protestant, you were a pagan. Kind of how it was. Or you were a heathen, or whatever. Or even like the Protestants would war with each other and be like, if you're not Baptist, you're not a real Baptist. And then there were Southern Baptists, which I later learned were the Baptists that believed in slavery. So, yay for keeping that tradition alive. Thumbs up for that. Up there with the rebel flag. And everyone's like, oh, it's my history, it's my ancestry. So, the legacy that you are trying to propagate is racism. So, I feel like racism must have adversely affected some people growing up. Maybe everyone. I don't know. I want y'all to discuss in the comments below. Um. So yeah, instead of just having fun and being by myself and not caring in elementary school or middle school, I was forced to care in order to assimilate and have a happier experience. I didn't like the rules that the quote popular kids had set forth, and that again, the popular kids were popular for being mean. If you weren't like them, you were unliked by them. And there's this one particular day where I was in chem chemistry or chem two, just chemistry. Um, and I could say their names because I still remember them. Were calling me all these names, and I had to ignore them because how am I supposed to like turn around and be like, be quiet and, or stop talking about me or whatever without disturbing the whole class. So I just sat there and took it. Also, my mom said if you don't show um, weakness, they won't pick on you as much because they are not getting the excitement factor from it. Um, so that kind of like was hard, and there there was my friend who was like sitting next to me hearing all this, and at the end of the class he was like physically visually angry. um so if he was visually upset and angry, how do you think I felt? A kid, teenager, high schooler should not get torn down by his or her peers or anyone in between his and her. I just don't think that's right. And my child psychologist mom, she would have probably said they are acting out and making other people suffer because their parents are making them suffer. So that's why there's this cyclical thing going on. I did my best to stay away from the air quote popular kids. Yet I wanted to live my life and I wanted to be me. I don't want anyone picking on me because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So, there's a flash forward and I want to flash back again. So, elementary school, anger started to come out. I was trying to compartmentalize my brother being gone and trying to deal with my mom leaning on me a little bit too much. And then in middle school, I dumped the friend that was a girl who was so far on the outskirts of what was popular that she made me unpopular. And like I went to the dance and I danced with her, and everyone was just like, I wasn't a slow dance or anything. It was like middle school. So there's like cement block apart or more type dancing. And I was attracted to, I guess I was a teenager, so I was attracted to other male teenagers, or rather male teenagers, because then again, that's implying that I have a particular gender. Um, and so I wasn't trying to get all close with the girl that I'm talking about. Um, so like the refreshments were in the cafeteria, so I went to the cafeteria and the quote popular kids were asking me all about this and why am I doing this? Why am I dancing with her? And blah blah blah. So the girl I'm talking about that I danced with bit the bullet and said it wasn't me. Sorry, the girl that I'm talking about said that it wasn't I, hemoglobin, that was dancing with her. We spun it and said that someone else was dancing with her. And I feel bad about that. I wish I had the confidence to just be like, you know what? I did dance with her, and what? I wish maybe that I had Latrice Royale's view on life. Be yourself and let them have it and let them eat it. Like that sentimentality. Let them eat it. Who cares? Be yourself. Enjoy life. Um, So that's what was going on in middle school, and then of course in high school, um, just me being picked on and trying to find people that were either being picked on too or people who wouldn't pick on me. Um, and being the very outspoken Catholic that I was, people would come to me with religious concerns and whatnot. Uh, like the earliest one was one of our female friends in the group of misfits that I was in. Should I say misfits? Should I wear it as a badge of honor? Would the people that I was with consider themselves misfits or be offended by it? So we'll just use the term band of misfits or my band of people. Let's do that. My band of people, there was a teenage girl who identified herself as bi and she came out as bi. So this guy who's like very southern redneck appeal, like has that appearance, came to me and was just like, she says she's bi. What are your thoughts? Me being attracted to or being categorized in my mind as homosexual, I was just like, well, I'm not going to ostracize her for it. So I was just like, yeah, I am fine with it. I did not come out because this was back in the era where being a lesbian was fine, but being a gay man was not. I know Ellen might disagree based on what happened to her show, but it's just what it was in the South. Oh, lesbians are hot, but gay men are perverted. Like that was the time and place that I lived in. It is what it is what it was. So, had there not been pressure from the popular kids to be straight or straight acting, had there not been pressure from my religious upbringing and the nightmares of me being kicked out, I feel like I would have admitted that I was gay. Um, and I almost did in senior psychology. They made us make a mask, and the outside was the mask of who you present yourself to be, and the inside is the mask of who you really are. And for me, I want to create a flap and have like the lambda signal or the upside down purple triangle symbol, obscure references to being gay, so that way the teacher might notice it. But it was going to be a little flap because it was going to be on the inside to be like, I am this, I identify as this, but I still try to hide it from myself. Sorry, that was a dark time, and that's where I started to have, I guess, what now I look back as symptoms of bipolar. And I just thought it was everyone else like pushing themselves on me as to how I should be and what I should do, and the anger with myself for being attracted to men and why would Jesus do this to me and whatnot. So let's recap. I had mental health conditions brought on by my environment since I was in the fourth grade. I feel like I started developing bipolar around like late teenage years. And it was kind of this classic signs of bipolar. Uh, one of a rapid cycler, um, like morning and night affected me. The color red affected me, um, and just like wanting to be myself. And it's weird, like my depression and mania kind of seem similar in that general isolation. Like mania, I don't want anyone to bring me down. Depression, I don't want to be around anyone. Kind of how it felt. Um, and of course, like for a moment there, I was concerned that I was schizophrenic because occasionally I would hear my name called and I couldn't tell if someone was playing a joke on me or if it was coming from behind the wall where there was no one. I wonder if there's a way I can just change this. Set. No. Um, Let me check real quick. Let me Google this because this is annoying me. Um, how to permanently set weather to clear in Minecraft. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know I'm departing from mental health, but this is kind of aggravating. And hot weather to clear. Okay, let's try this. Yes, it's very brooding and it's very apropos. Okay. Set one, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're gonna set this for a long time for clear. Okay. So possible schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is brought on by stress. It's also kind of tends to be people who have like ADD, men who have ADD, ADHD plus stress tend to develop schizophrenia or have the genetic disposition. Let's back this up. If they have the genetic predisposition for schizophrenia, it's sometimes noted in more common with men who have ADD, ADHD. And the onset tends to be later in life or due to stress. I was stressed out, so stressed in high school. Uh, it was just everyone's hormones was kicking in, and people were doing things. And I was trying to survive, is what it felt like. Uh, the adults thought I was thriving, though, so that's a little interesting. Um, so what was stressing me out? Marching band, symphonic band, ultra serving, tennis, tuba. Tuba is kind of redundant, but you have after school practice for marching band, and then you have to go home and practice tuba for symphonic band, and then you're doing tennis on top of it. When I was in middle school, I had a lot more, but I wasn't, I guess, as stressed about it because there wasn't that strong component of peer pressure that was in high school. And I just couldn't tell how I was supposed to act in high school. Everything was upside down for me. I wore baggy t-shirts and baggy clothes to appear more heterosexual. I wore dark clothes um, because if you're wearing dark clothes, people don't seem to assume you're homosexual either. I'm saying homosexual because that's my personal experience, but it could be bisexual, pansexual, whatever during this period of time. Um, so, and I use my anger to my advantage at points. I just had like this angry front that I would put on, and I wouldn't get messed with when I was putting off anger, or I wouldn't get messed with if I was wearing enough black or whatever. When I looked preppy, uh, at the time, cargo shorts and a polo shirt, um, I tend to get picked on a little bit more. It's like I was visible to the preppy people, and they're like, "You're not being preppy enough." Is what it felt like. Um, like you need to dish out what you you need to be able to dish out what you take, kind of feeling. Like there were nice, popular kids, but I feel like they weren't expressing their niceties as much because the mean popular kids were being mean and they were setting the whatever, the standard, the rule of thumb. Which rule of thumb is offensive because the rule of thumb was actually meant by how wide your thumb was could dictate how wide the stick was that you could use to beat your wife with. Correct. Yeah. So let's go kind of back over. I know this is a little long. It's already at 40 minutes. So anger started to really develop in elementary school, and then I felt a lot of pressure from students in middle school, and then I was trying to argue with my sexuality and religion in addition to all the stuff that I was required to do by my parents and by my school, and pressure from the preps to be a certain way or try to like avoid them as much as possible. So, in that stress, I think my mental health broke down and my bipolar manifested. And the bipolar would haunt me through college. And I addressed this in my being emotional or being too emotional vlog, where the slightest thing could set me off or spin me up or spin me down. I remember one part thing the where I didn't like completely burn a pizza, but it was like crispy and like the cheese was kind of brown, so it looked like it was burnt. But my friends told me it was good, but they were upset that I had burnt the pizza allegedly, and so I decided to go for a walk. So I just disappeared from my own dorm room and took a walk and like went to the band field. That's where I felt home and you could see the stars and it was nice. And so I would call one of my exes and just be like, I need someone to talk to. So, I mean, back then, like, when I say exes, it wasn't like boyfriend or anything, because after my really big blow up relationship, or a relationship that blew up after a year of dating, I just kind of swore off dating. So fill in the gaps. Um, so one of my exes, and I was just had to have someone to talk to and whatnot. Um, and there was like just nights at university where I was down and I would send the I love you text to like a bunch of people, just hoping someone would reach back and be like, I love you too. Or, oh, thank you, you're amazing person, or something like that. Because I needed that. I needed to be pulled from the edge. And I would, I got pulled from the edge. There was times when I wanted to just throw myself off of this or that or whatever. But I always found someone, and that's a true friend. Someone who's there for you when you need them, even if they don't know how much you need them. So that kind of goes through, and I can go through mental health part three later at more of the university and uh, the doctorate level work and what that was like for me more specifically. But I'm just trying to show you the path of how long I had mental health issues and what kind of helped transpire them. And then, so yeah, I took my mental health issues through university, through doctorate school, through professional work. And so this bipolar kept getting worse, worse, and worse, and I wasn't really paying attention to it. Um, I was so busy with work, I didn't pay attention to it until I just couldn't work anymore. So I had to take a leave of absence. And I was so depressed, I couldn't find help for myself. And this is where my mom stepped in for what felt like the first time in a long time. Um, I I kind of have a video about that, but I kind of don't. You can find out later. So she steps in, finds a therapist, and then finds a psychiatrist that my insurance will pay for. I'm trying to remember back when this was. Um, like 2017, I think. Maybe 2018 at the latest. So this was going on. And I had initiated a project that would eventually cause me to go bankrupt. And it was just a part of the bipolar. And the therapist even said, look, a lot of bipolar people do end up uh, bankrupt, homeless, or somewhere in between. And yeah, I almost ended up homeless if it wasn't for my mom. So, from that being my lowest point, I would consider like being bankrupt and not necessarily having a place to call home would be my lowest point mental health wise, which is odd because I had been seeing my therapist and I started seeing a psychiatrist before all of this. The therapist gave me the tools that I would later use once my mental health got better. Because when my mental health was bad, it was real bad, and I couldn't. the the tools weren't big enough or strong enough to deal with what I was dealing with. Um, so yeah, that was a dark time. I was fortunate that my mom was able to find a condo for me. Um, It's small, but it's like a rent to own. The person that owned it passed away, and just she just left it to me. So there was a quick deed transfer when she realized that she was not doing well. So yeah, now this condo is free and clear. So when I returned to work, something happened in a way that prevented me from getting all of my hours. They had hired somebody else, and I wanted to be guaranteed hours, and so I had a lot of stress when I first came back to work. Like I wasn't eating. So me trying to get to where I'm at now, which is a lot better of a place, took me about 4 years to try through the medications, titrate up, slowly increase the doses, um, and go from there. Like being a person who's educated in health, I was able to have quick and easy conversations with my psychiatrist so we could kind of help titrate my doses over like a 5 minute conversation instead of like a 30-minute conversation. Um, so everything is fine ish. I got a notice at work about some things tightening, and it's really shook me, so I'm stressed out again. Um, but I'm eating for better or for worse, and I shouldn't say for better or for worse, but it's how I feel because I am overweight. Um, by my ideal weight by like 50 pounds, 50. Um, so, and I think a part of that was when I was too stressed to eat, I would drink Equate, and it just caused me to balloon up. And I haven't had the willpower, I'll be honest, I haven't had the willpower to like devote myself to diet and exercise. Because when I get done with work, I'm exhausted, and the only thing I want to do is watch anime or YouTube or both. Um, so that's my current mental health status. I'm not like a lot more sound. The only remaining thing in my bipolar is that desire to spend lots of money to make me feel good. Um, so I've been titrating something, and I think it's working. Like I've come to the realization I need to stay off of certain websites and not buy things. Um, Granted, I have a new vice because of the pandemic. I like doing, well, I like doing DoorDash, but the application's been annoying and not working, even though I have a very up to date phone, and internet plan or mobile plan. And so I'm switching to Grubhub, and I'm going to see how that goes. But so far, it's been great because I see a lot of stores on Grubhub that I didn't see on DoorDash, and a lot more free delivery. DoorDash charges, and I'm not being paid to promote Grubhub or being paid to demote DoorDash, but it's kind of relevant. Um, so yeah, the final piece of the puzzle is wrangling in my spending. That's the final piece for me. And then wrangling in the stress that I deal with at work that kind of makes me just like come home and want to decompress and not do anything. Because my partner's just like, I hate coming home to a mess. And yeah, it is messy, But it's just one of those things. I just want to like stab my brain with serotonin or epinephrine or whatever. And the best way for me to do that is to watch anime that I enjoy or to watch YouTubers that I enjoy. So, suffice it to say, I've been dealing with mental health since probably late fourth grade, and it got a lot worse until it landed me into bankruptcy. And at that point, I was at my lowest point, I would say, and it really, when I started to truly battle um, mental health, was 6 months before I reached my lowest point, and a lot of it had to do with trying different medications and then titrating the ones that worked and finding out the ones that didn't work. And you gotta have like a 2 week period at minimum to kind of be like, oh yeah, this is working, or oh yeah, this is not working. Um, and the psychiatrist that I was seeing at the time only worked like once a month. The new person that I have, so I went bankrupt, right? So I was under, and I wasn't getting enough work hours, and hence why I went bankrupt. Um, and I was stressed about being bankrupt. I was stressed about not having enough hours for work and being like, am I going to be able to afford to live? Type deal. Um, so I was having a nervous breakdown at that point. So I went into an urgent care and I was just telling them what was going on. They're like, we're not going to prescribe you any benzos. So, nope. Um, so they got me a caseworker and we kind of just outlined some things that helped. And then we found a different psychiatrist that worked in the office once a week instead of once a month. So we were able to like talk more frequently and adjust medications more quickly. With the pandemic, everything's like via telephone. So now I'm not restricted to once a week. There's 3 times a week, so I can like not going 3 times a week. Um, but I have a lot more flexibility in when I go see him. So we were able to like go through medications that didn't work quicker. Um, he did start me on some benzos like when we first met because of my stress level, not being able to eat type stress level. Um, which I first like I slowly titrated off, but now that I am like things are tightening up at work, I'm starting to use them a bit more again. What I mean a bit more, I mean like from zero to like half of one. Um, so I guess I should say mental health is a moving target, and finding, I wouldn't say coping mechanisms, but things that help you achieve better mental health are valued. Physically unhealthy things include being a couch potato and eating junk food. Better mental health things that work for physical health as well would be exercising, meditating, and whatnot. And a part of being Wiccan would be meditating in order to do spell work or work with the environment and whatnot. And I don't consider being a Wiccan a mental health problem. I know a lot of people would, but that's on them. It's not on me. I am me. I'm going to do me, and that's what it is. And that's why I'm doing these, because I want to do this. It is very cathartic for me, and I hope very helpful for you. Um, So, suffice it to say, it's been about 3 or 4 years since I've started my upward mental health journey. There are like some finessing things that are being worked out, like my spending. Um, and then hopefully the horizon that I'm on will help with the spending as well as the anxiety. I think it will. So that is that for now. Um, so I guess words of encouragement. Oh, as the sun is rising, that's very poetic. Words of encouragement. Don't take it the wrong way when I say a battle with mental health can be a long time thing and is a moving target. What I'm trying to do in the encouragement section is say, if it's taking you a very long time to achieve the mental health that you desire, that's okay. Mental health for a lot of people is a moving target, and there are some coping mechanisms that are healthy and some that are unhealthy, and it is important to know the difference. Um, I am not the picture of perfect mental health, and I do not claim to be the picture of perfect mental health. I am on a journey, and it is our journey together because I am telling you my life. So, the journey can be long, but don't give in, don't give up. Have hope. And remember, you are loved because you are human. Perfect or imperfect, whatever you feel you are loved, and I am here for you. Okay? Comment, reply via video, whatever. Just let me know you are listening, and I will let you know I am here for you. Okay? I love you, and I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you later.